Welcome back. Today we're playing a game called Black Dahlia. It came out in around 98, I believe. It's a full motion video game. So basically you control everything with mouse, and rather than walking around, it's not so much an open world. It's sort of linear in a certain respect. But if you don't find the right clues and so forth, you won't get anywhere, and you've got to solve puzzles. Anyway, this is called Black Dahlia. It's based on real events, well, based on a true story, but it takes a more of a supernatural, mythological side of things. So let's get into it. Just give me a second. Oh, there we go. As Nazi fanatics spin their plots of world conquest from the smoking ruins of Europe, most Americans took little notice of the serial killer stalking their country. What follows is inspired by actual events. Cleveland, 1941.
Dies Lied ist aus der Sehnsucht süßer Sprache.
You told Father O'Neill that I stole the wine, didn't you, Runt?
No, I didn't, I swear.
Arr! Let me see what I can do to squeal it.
I did, I swear.
Come in.
Reporting for work, sir.
Relax, son. This isn't the academy.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Sullivan will do just fine. I think you'll find that the COI is a bit more informal than your other branches of government. Now, let's set you to work. Some city detectives sent this complaint over to us. It should be pretty straightforward. If you have any questions about the assignment, don't hesitate to ask. The door's always open, son.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sullivan.
What is it, Mr. Pearson? Oh, yes, of course, your office. It's across the hall. And please forgive the mess. Your predecessor departed rather unexpectedly, and we're still short-staffed and haven't had a chance to clear it out for you. Well, I hope you can handle things on your own. It's something you're going to have to get used to with the COI.
President Roosevelt had just authorized the formation of the COI that summer. They were supposed to be the outfit that handled the real spy stuff overseas. It was the place to be if you wanted real adventure. At least, that was the bill of goods the recruiters for the COI sold me. And here I was, stuck in a crummy old office, in Cleveland of all places, as far away from any real action as I could imagine.
The black lines through the videos, perfectly normal. You can tell it's a little low quality. This thing came on CDs, not DVDs. And it came on 8 of them. So they had this, it's a big game. It's like 8 gig for the time. That was big. Almost 8 gigs, like 6.2 gig or something like that. Big game for the day. Last time I did this, because the audio is not that great the way I was recording it, so it was a little slower. It was running a little slower. I beefed up the CPU because we're running an 8.6 box. And I was running it at 100 megahertz. I'm running at 133, so it's a little faster. Yeah, we need a key. Oh, it's a little dark in here. Just a word of warning, it's going to get very wordy. Just in this section for now. Check down here. Return library books, withdraw money, phone Cassie, contact jeweler, check post office, get a good stiff drink. Get new boots, change light bulb in ceiling light, It seems to be fine at the moment, because it's done. Check back with Professor Strauss, clean office. Oops. Oi.
This might come in handy.
It might, or it might get us killed, but... FDR, Roosevelt creates a new intelligence service. President Roosevelt today signed an executive order creating the Office of the Coordinator of Information. In the President's own words, the new agency is to collect and analyze all information and data which may bear upon national security, to correlate such information and data and make the same available to the President and to such departments and officials of the government as the President may determine, and to carry out, when requested by the President, such supplementary activities as may facilitate the securing of information important for national security not now available to the government. Mr. Roosevelt has named Colonel Bill Donovan, hero of the Great War and sometime unofficial President envoy, to head the new agency. Word of the COI's creation and Donovan's appointment has provoked a storm of protests and isolationists and existing intelligence services. There are rumors here that Colonel Donovan is to be the new Heinrich Himmler, or an American Gestapo, though the President insists that the Coordinator of Information will serve no such role. FBI Director Hoover could not be reached for comment about the COI, though sources within the Bureau indicated that he is furious over its creation and that the new agency can expect little cooperation from its agents. So basically, a new secret, a new secret agency, agency was created. People don't like it, and they're upset. And the way the media portrays it, shows it. So, inventory, our little badge, with our little,
My lucky St. Christopher's medal. I've had it since I was a kid.
Yep. Thanks for the overview. These shields will come in. Is very important. Thule awakens. FID. The time of struggle is now at hand. No longer will parliaments determine the fate of the people. In their place will rule wise priest-kings, masters of Ariosophical mysticism, and leaders of chivalrous and spiritual orders. As long as we hold to the three, the brotherhood of the Thule shall rule. The black eagle is a symbol of the Thule. The black eagle arises from the blanket of flames, which warns us that we must die in order to live. Our order is a Teutonic order. Loyalty is also Teutonic. Our way is the way of the Trinity. Waltan Wheelie We is the unity of the Trinity. That's Nordic, I believe. The power is contained in the three. The order is your heritage. Your heritage is Teutonic. Your loyalty is Teutonic. The old order shall be restored, and the Trinity shall rise like the Black Eagle. Reclaim your heritage. Rejoice in the time of Thule. Rise with the Black Eagle. The messenger shall receive your word. Okay, we've got initial crime report. Harassment. Finster munitions plant. Henry Finster. Henry Finster files complaint regarding alleged Nazi recruitment. Cause of complaint is a flyer passed out at Finster munitions plant by unknown messenger. After review of flyer and interrogation of plaintiff, Nazi recruitment deemed unlikely and case given low priority. A plaintiff became verbally abusive when informed of such. Forwarding complaint to COI office. Peter Marilou. Well, go check out if he did the light properly. Whoops.
What's this?
Yeah, here's one thing that can be quite uh, shouldn't, some people won't notice it, but and notice he's wearing a casual outfit.
Do you mind? Would you cut that out?
And when you start, you're in a business outfit. Oops, wrong screen. Well, let's start some reading. Start some more reading. The magic chink in Hitler's armor on preliminary report. Contacts within the British intelligence community report that the Nazi Fuhrer and many of his closest supporters are avid devotees to mysticism and occult studies. This fascination has said to have played a key role in the recent capture of Rudolf Hess, who now resides safely in an English prison. Hess, the second in line for the Nazi succession, was apprehended this spring after parachuting into Scotland under a flag of truce. Sources within MI6 contend that an elaborate British intelligence operation was instrumental in convincing Hess to make his ill-fated journey. We are told that his capture was accomplished through subtle modification to real astrological forecasts, which were then smuggled into Germany. Apparently, Hess, an avid follower of astrology, became convinced that these forecasts indicated the time was then ripe for a negotiated peace with Britain. Acting on his own and with an absolute faith in his occult science, Hess flew to Scotland, where he believed that he would become a hero for ending the war in Europe. Sorry. Even before the rise of the Nazis, Hess and other influential members of Hitler's inner circle were members of such Aryan theosophical organizations such as the Germordian and Thule Society. These groups and many others like them were quite common in Germany after the conclusion of the Great War and concluded to proliferate during the years of the Weimar Republic. They became hotbeds for nationalist unrest, historical revisionism, and rural anti-Semitism. From these groups came many future Nazis, along with much of the rhetoric and regalia such as the swastika, which the swastika is not a bad symbol. It's just a perverted one of a mystical holy symbol. When it's rotated back to 45 degrees, it's a perfectly fine symbol. It's usually golden in color as well. But when the Nazis absorbed the idea or the symbol into their own culture, I suppose, they perverted it and rotated it 45 degrees as a mockery of mysticism. Despite Hitler's official ban on these organizations after his rise to power, which drove many other founders such as von Sebottendorf and Eisenstadt into exile. Sources within the Reich indicates that there is still a strong penchant for belief in these crazy sword sciences amongst high-ranking Nazi officials. The strength of these beliefs may be used to our advantage, as British have already proven in the case of Rudolf Hess. Heinrich Himmler, one of the most likely subjects for future operations of this nature, is head of Hitler's security forces. Heinrich Himmler. British intelligence report that there is within his AS Enerheb. I can't pronounce a lot of these German words, don't worry. An agency dedicated to investigation of ancestral origins, which is more mysticism stuff. A separate department whose job it is to conduct serious and dedicated research into mysticism, supernatural phenomena, and occult theories. Beyond this, Himmler is a known devotee to weird pseudo-religion of his own creation that combines elements of medieval ritual, pagan myth, and modern occult practices, which often happens when things are reinterpreted. He has refurbished his ancient monastery in Wilsburg at great expense, turning it into his own version of a knight's castle. He is said to meet there with his council of Black Knights, high-ranking SS officers, on a regular basis, discuss matters of a spiritual significance, and hold seances at which long-dead Aryan heroes are contacted. One report contends that the whole place is set up to resemble the court of the famous King Arthur, complete with a massive round table, while another says that a bizarre satanic chapel has been constructed beneath the monastery where human sacrifices are made. A psychic medium is what I was going to say. How valid these reports may be is subject to debate. That there is no doubt that Heimler considers himself to be a spirit channel, the psychic medium, i.e., one who through the dead may speak, and claims to be the reincarnation of King Heinrich I, German monarch ruled, blah 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 blah. There is evidence that Hitler shares his lieutenant's convictions in this area, and that he believes himself to be the reincarnation of Landulf Cooper, Capua, 9th century tyrant and sorcerer. Whether or not all of these allegations can be proven, and despite the fact that most normal Americans will find these stories and legends hard to swallow, there is a definite possibility these occult beliefs may provide us with valuable covert weapons in the event that the United States find itself involved in a direct conflict with Nazi Germany. And hopefully that will help you guys to sort of understand the premise of the game, or some parts of the game. A lot of effort was a lot of effort went into creating the lore behind it, recreating the lore behind it. Fifth column lessons for America. Spying, sabotage, and propaganda. Are all common tools in the Nazi war chest. Even before 1939, there are confirmed cases of where spies, spy rings operating in Latin America and the United States, Great Britain, Soviet Russia, France, and neutral countries of Europe. Not only do these secret agents gather information for the Nazi masters, they also disrupt commerce and communication through subtle sabotage and dissemination of lies and misleading rumors. The purpose of this booklet is to educate Americans about potential dangers of Abu Ghraib infiltration, and to teach you how it can be prevented where absent, and rooted out where it already exists. To date, the ultimate masterpiece of Nazi fifth column activities is uh, unquestionably the debacle in France that occurred last spring. Here, Hitler panicked the French soldiers with false couriers carrying phony orders and special forces disguised as Dutch infantry. He demoralized their officers by surprise attacks and dirty tricks like dressing his paratroopers up as Catholic nuns to sow panic behind the lines. He bewildered the French general staff with the daring of his strategic planning, which was aided by detailed intelligence supplied by pro-Nazi spies throughout the countryside. In the words of the French General Henry Girard, these fifth column operatives plied their trade admirably, sowed terror, propagated demoralization, encouraged desertion. In short, they were one of the main causes of the French military disintegration. The civilian population of France received no better treatment. Herr Goebbels' persistent slaying the machine browbeat them with his radio propaganda, which spread defeatism and insisted that France had been betrayed by her allies, Great Britain. Horrible rumors were spread through towns and villages, augmented by mysterious reports of massacre and mayhem over the wireless. All these were designed to flush the refugees into the streets to clog roads desperately needed for military transport. And when the highways were congested with terrified civilians, Hitler sent in the Luftwaffe to strafe them with machine gun fire to increase their panic. History stands as a witness, impartial and stern, to the overwhelming success of these tactics. France fell in an unprecedented 43 days, and now Great Britain stands alone. If she too is defeated, there will be no barrier between Hitler's armies and American shores. When that day comes, will we be prepared? Well, I'm Australian, and I wasn't born in this time, so... Basically, think, don't panic. Irresponsible rumors can be one of the enemy's greatest weapons. Don't aid American foes by playing into their hands. If you hear a crazy or defeated story, don't believe it, and whatever you do, don't pass it on. Be vigilant. If you see something strange or someone who seems a bit out of the ordinary, report it immediately to your local authorities. Don't be embarrassed. It's far better to err on the side of caution than to let a potential spy get away. Keep secrets, no matter how trivial information seems or how well you know your favorite gossip partner. If you know something the enemy can use, keep it to yourself. The smallest tidbit of a story about what new equipment is being installed down at the local manufacturing plant or where your soldier boyfriend last wrote you from could be valuable to the enemy and deadly to your friends and family. Be prepared, and informed and well-educated populace is much less likely to succumb to fifth column slander and panic-mongering than one that is ignorant of the facts. Keep your eyes and ears peeled for official government bulletins and radio broadcasts. These will give you the straight dope on what's going on in the world around you and let you know how you can best serve your country should an emergency arise. With vigilance, courage and determination, we can all work together to keep our country strong and the world safe for freedom and democracy. Freedom! So, there you go. Is that the last of it? Not really, no. Because we got this stuff, which we've got to piece all together. They just, not like that, but like that. But we've got to know in which order to Place it all in. Hmm? Ah. Oh. Okay, that's where it is. I'd forgotten. Hmm. Okay. This is tricky. It will get translated later in the game. But if if you're someone like me who likes to do this sort of shit, it's basically Nordic ruins. There's many different versions of them. This one seems to be the elder variant, but it's also not totally accurate. Like some of these runes are flipped around. Um, so basically, the 9 gifts to Odin, the first 4 letters are I, N, not sure, N. The reason why I'm not sure is because some of these runes could be double ups as well. There seem to be more than 24, which is the most that the Elder runes came up with. The Elder Fodok, or Fodok, or however you want to pronounce it. And I did some work on it myself, as well as some other work, so I can at least give you a head start if you wanted to do that sort of thing. So these ones, this here is not correct, but this is. So that's GIFTS basically, and you can follow that all the way through. So based on this and some legit runes, this doesn't seem to be English, as it's SEFN, MESNGRS, and then it's T, and I believe that's a U. I'm not entirely certain in the context of the game, but in the runes, it's a U. That's a TH, that one, and E. So I know that one's the, so that will be the most common letter there, most likely. But this here says Shepherds of Stays. Now that's an important statement, that one. That one will come up in a few ways, I think. So that's SHEPHERDSOFSTAYS. And that seems to stay pretty consistent throughout the writings, as it were. So in some of these, there'll be names, either Nordic or Germanic in nature. Could be Scandinavian, because the whole Nordic and Vikings area seems to span from Norwegia, Scandinavia, Dutch, Germany, and all that area basically. And some of these I have no idea how to translate them. Like this character here, which comes out fairly often. That letter can in the real stuff can be a C, a K, or a Q, and as such, this here says sacred. What is it? No, it's silent. Sacred silent. I'm not sure what, but it's S something FY. Again, it could be a U, it could be a V, it could be just about anything, because I don't think there's actually an English character to represent it. A bit like this one, which I think is the eye with 2 dots above it. But if we go through here, down here, this says ritual, and yes, this one, and where is it? Might be up here. No, I'm sure it's on this page. Yeah, I'm sure. Just can't find it now. Ritual. There's another word that says prison. Some of this seems to be German or Norse in nature, while some of it is in English. If I could just find where it says prison, that'd be great. Oops, I think I found it. Not there. No, I lost it. No, although that one is like P A something N. Oh, that's my ritual page. No wonder. There it is. That there says prison. Now, this word also comes up a fair bit as well, so that's SHATY. And there's here it says, oh no, not there. Yeah, TOSHATR, then HEFMS, SF, not sure why. So that should give you an idea on how to work it. So that, I'm not sure what that one is, but that's P. So yeah, it's quite interesting. There's words like uh, consummate, or consummate, not quite the full English one. So some of these seem to be encrypted, as it were, like HAYT for hate. And there's other words in here. I think I used this down here a fair bit. Yeah, gift. Yeah, gift to him is NO. Not sure. D something FOTED. Oh yeah, this character here. Where is it? This character here. That's NG. I know it as ING, but it's NG. Same with that one. So that would be SPRANG, which is sprang. Sprang from. Yeah, not sure. It's hard to see what's there, but that would be SDOM. Then you got prison. Then Shafty. Shotty. Then 2SUMOT. No, it's difficult to translate because again, some is in English, others not so much. Like even though this says SEFN, it probably could mean send, and MES NGRS could mean messengers. And that could be just another way of writing to, as in TO. The what was it? Shepherds of Stays, yeah. So, and that one just says to shatter heavens, 50. So, I have no idea. But like I said, it'll get translated. I just figure some of you guys might be interested. So, don't know. We'll see. Meanwhile, we'll just continue on. We do have a notebook which has written some stuff down from this parchment. I went into the wrong place. Notebook. There you go. Yeah, which is FID, which is probably a clue to writing on the rune gem, which is this thing here. Because you got FID, wasn't it? Which could be this one. Is there another one? No, probably something like that. And was it D or G? Because you don't seem to have a D here per se. It's supposed to be able to use shortcuts, but yeah, D. But runes are peculiar because they can also have a meaning on its own, as in meaning like the symbol for A also refers to Odin and divinity and stuff like that. We haven't looked in here yet, have we?
I wonder what sort of artifacts Mr. Pensky wanted Professor Strauss to look at.
In the time there arose a great Jarl. Oh, that's right. That thing that was like, is a J, I'm pretty sure. In the time there arose a great Jarl among the Volsung, Ildulf. He was called an atheling of independent mind who, together with his ealdormen, caused a ritual to be prepared that would summon the chief of the Aesir to his presence so that his people might worship as they had of old. So like summoning a god kind of thing. Whereas Christians, Catholics, and the like would say Satan, but yeah, there was no Satan or devils before Christians and whatnot came into play. So yeah, it makes you wonder. So then at the Feast of Yule, when the regular gifts were presented, a special purpose was devised that would accomplish their resolve. Know then, my liege, that was the custom in the days of old to assemble 9 sons of good stock and make of a gift to Wotan, the father of the people, to the place of offering where brought these gifts, and there with them were assembled the sacred objects that had been secreted from the friars in the time of the conversion of the clan. Sounds like human sacrifices in a way. 3 of these and those that kept them were called warriors of the trilogy. One was a chalice of ash wood said to be carved from the roots of the world tree. The second was the skull of a wise man, a vizier, and skull of great renown. Kind of reminds you of the skull that we got in the office here, who had drunk from Mimir's fountain before being called to Asgard. I think Mimir's fountain might be the fountain of youth. The third was the soul of the prophetess Dahlia, locked in black amber and scryed with the gifts of Odin. That would be runes. Like the dark lotus of legend, it was dusky, fair, and bewitching. Kind of sounds like the prism that's in pieces at the moment. Attributed to the 12th century Dominican monk Ogland. And thus spoke the oracle, into the heart of the motherland must the lifeblood so be absorbed, and through it the portal will be opened to the throne where he might be crowned. And so he commanded his thanes to delve deep into the highest mountains of the land, and they were brought forth a stone they found there that was cold as hoarfrost. So like Everfrost, and black as night. And then he caused marks and runes on all manner of heathen symbols to be engraved onto its surface, and it was fashioned into an altar of sacrifice. And this thing they made was filled with a dark spirit that drank ever the blood of innocent life, and absorbed it like water on the ocean shore. Never did a crimson stain mar the stone's smooth surface, for no matter how much it consumed, its thirst could not be slaked. This passage seemed to pertain to the symbols on the stones, but I cannot help feel that they somehow hold the key to all that I have encountered so far. If only I could discern how they are to be arranged, I'm sure the result would be significant. But when the host had been assembled, some among them grew faint of heart, and their heritage was betrayed. They had been turned against the gods of their fathers by the Gaelic friars, and would not stand by. For the ceremony to reach fruition, the will of all 12 courtly families were required. Thus, solely in the shadow did the grey god take his form, and then only to weep for a little while. It was then that Eldolf became enraged, and his wrath was fearsome to behold. He took revenge upon those who had forsaken him with the ferocity of a berserker, and his smoking blade was crimson with the blood of his kin. With his ire all but sated, he hid himself away to let his passion smoulder and to contemplate the future. In the darkness of his heart he conceived that if the Aesir would not be summoned, then he would devise a way to attain divinity and usurp Wotan's power, as probably like angels. And Wotan would be more like divinity, not like Odin, but a supreme being, perhaps surpassing Odin, or it could be another name for Odin. He sought far and wide for counsel as to how he might accomplish his device, and he did so without companion, for his ealdorman forsook him in his madness and provided him with neither advice nor sanction. Oh, damn it. Not much time. There is a second version of the ritual, which is very similar in some ways, but appears to serve a different purpose, such as usurping the divine throne. I'm not sure which one of these they would more likely to pursue. The one to usurp the divine throne. If they've begun already, perhaps they are somehow responsible for all that is happening to me. My God, do I sound paranoid? Maybe they're right, but no, they cannot be. So yeah, when calling and summoning the gods and it fails, the next logical step is by all means become one yourself. Anyway, that's what this black diamond-like thing is all about as well. But now we've got a key. We can see if it fits this thing. Whoops. Okay, we finally received the list from the FBI. Of course, there's an encrypted number associated with each of the names. Keep it under your hat, but I want you to see what you can do about cracking the code. They may be keeping important information from us. Okay, and that's part of the code. That's on the phone, I believe. Maybe. Okay. 0 plus 1 minus 1 plus something minus da da da. Arrow, arrow, arrow. Shawab. interesting, maybe. But yeah, that was signed off by Sullivan, was it?
What a bunch of gibberish.
Hmm. Mr. Pensky, I am very intrigued by your message and am indeed interested in examining the artifacts that you described. Please call me as soon as possible. I feel that these items may be of critical importance to your investigation. Dr. Strauss, by all means, don't give us a friggin' phone number, eh? Okay. Let's try moving on, shall we?
Yes?
Sorry to bother you, sir.
Not at all, Mr. Pearson. Come right in.
Sir, what happened to the fellow I'm replacing?
Walter Pensky. Good man. And a good agent. Once. The job got the better of him.
I imagine he must have been under a lot of pressure, sir.
We all are these days. Just remember, Mr. Pearson, we follow orders, not personal crusades.
I will, sir. I have a question about this case file, sir.
Certainly. What is it?
Sir, this munitions owner, Mr. Finster, is there anything you can tell me about him that wasn't in the report?
Hank Finster is an interesting case. He's an important man with the fellows in the Defense Department on account of the munitions factories he owns. But he's not wound all too tight, if you catch my meaning. Well, it's always one thing after another with him. If it isn't the unions, it's the Reds. If it isn't the Reds, it's the Nazis. But he may have something there. Take a look at that invitation. What do you make of it?
Well, this invitation's a little odd, and I bet it didn't come cheap. I'd wager this Brotherhood's pretty well set, whoever they are. And I don't imagine they're out to recruit just anyone.
Good eye, son. It's a fascist tract, all right, but it's one that's aimed at the high-born in our society. Whoever's behind this, they're likely to have some backing, and that's going to make your investigation all the more dangerous. You'll need to be careful.
I will, sir.
Yeah. Printed documents as such were quite expensive back in the day.
Who handled this case when it first came in, sir?
A city detective named Marilow. I guess he's got his hands full now. He's handling the torso murders investigation. Terrible work, that. They found another one just yesterday.
Yeah, but this will become important soon, so... Shame we couldn't ask about the list.
Come in.
Excuse me, Detective Marilow? I'm Jim Pearson. I'm from the COI. I'm here about Mr. Finster's complaint.
A what? This had better be good, kid. I'm up to my neck in murders.
You were the detective that handled Mr. Finster's complaint?
Finster.
Oh, yeah, Finster. I remember him now. Listen, kid. If I had a nickel for every so-called Nazi spy in this city, I would be a very rich man.
So you don't think his complaint was legitimate?
Ever since you secret agent types start stirring people up about Nazi spies, every Tom, Dick, and Harry with a beef about his neighbors has been into my office. You care to take a guess how many of them panned out?
Well, what did your investigation reveal? Was there anything to the invitation? You did investigate this, didn't you?
Now listen, Sonny. There's a butcher on the loose in my city. I didn't have time. Hey, isn't that sort of thing your job now? I don't have time to babysit another Fed.
Detective, I understand you must be very busy right now.
You don't understand nothing. Every day, it seems, we find another body or a part of a body. We don't have enough good leads, and we don't have enough men to cover this case. And on top of that, I got some horse's ass from the Federal Bureau of Investigation looking over my shoulder trying to tell me how to do my job.
I'm sorry to have bothered you, Detective. I'll be on my way.
This case is going to be the death of me yet. For what it's worth, kid, Finster had a look at the mugshot books. He said he spotted the Joe what handed him that screwy invitation. I think he even marked the books and everything. You can have a look through them if you think it'll help.
Thank you, Detective.
Well, we'll have a quick gander.
Are you any closer to catching the torso killer?
That sick son of a bitch has been too clever.
How's that?
Well, for starters, he's not leaving enough behind for us to identify. Our best guess is he's cutting up bums and whores, people nobody'd miss. Takes them apart real clean, too, like a doctor. 2 whacks and he's through them. The queerest thing is, he bleeds them dry, washes them clean, and wraps them up like a butcher, all nice and neat in newspapers. It's like nothing I've ever seen, and I've seen plenty.
I'm sure it's only a matter of time before something breaks through.
Oh, you got that right. His kind always slips up. And when he does, bang, I'm gonna be right there on top of him.
Yeah, forensic analysis wasn't common until 1950 odd. So yeah, it's not surprising that they don't know that sort of stuff.
Hasn't the FBI been able to give you any relief with the torso investigation?
Ah, that's a good one, kid. Elliot Ness has saddled me with a junior AG man named Winslow, who doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. About all he's done is look pretty in his fancy suits for the photo boys and flapped his gums to the reporters about how he is gonna catch that killer.
This must be the one Finster looked through.
Yeah. And there's only really one that stands out because they use the term fraud, counterfeiting, laundry, falsified identification. There's only one that really stands out because it says forgery. Fraud. Murder, we're not really concerned about murder, rape, theft, yada yada yada. Illegal identification and stuff like that. So yeah, there is only one that really stands out. But if we have a look here, Finster Stationery, and go here. But we'll get the description for the guy that we need to investigate.
Excuse me, could you tell me where Mr. Finster's office is?
He's up there. You're welcome.
Excuse me, Mr. Finster? Jim Pearson from the COI. I've been assigned to investigate your complaint.
Ah, what the hell took you so long? I guess all my calls to Mayor Lausch finally got you guys off your cans.
And there's his symbol again, just more bland. Installed. Certainly sounds German, doesn't it? Got expensive taste. And yeah, not looking too great, eh? But he's not exactly a great looker himself, so.
What can you tell me about this Brotherhood, Mr. Finster?
What can I tell you? Oh, what makes you think I can tell you anything? But I'll tell you what it is, though. It's a Nazi conspiracy is what it is.
Now, what makes you say that, Mr. Finster? The invitation has no swastikas, no insignia, no clear-cut signs of Nazi involvement.
Now, you mark my words, young man. This is a Nazi conspiracy, or my name isn't Henry W. Finster.
I'm gonna need some hard facts before I'm able to make that stick with my superior, sir.
Where do they find you guys? What do they just pull you out of a pumpkin patch? It's right before your eyes. Those screwy symbols.
You recognize the symbols on that invitation?
I've seen them all over Germany.
When were you in Germany, Mr. Finster?
Now, don't you give me that look.
Mr. Finster, I...
There is nothing wrong with Germany. My grandparents were born in Deutschland. We still have family there. The German people are upstanding, hard-working, God-fearing folk, and the American worker could learn a thing or two from them. The only thing wrong with Germany is that Austrian peasant and his gang of street thugs.
My apologies, Mr. Finster. I am only trying to establish the facts in the case.
Okay. It's been 15, 20 years now since I've been there. But I will never forget those symbols.
Do you have any idea what those symbols mean?
Of course not. I would never have anything to do with that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, it means you're of German descent, doesn't it? If your grandparents lived there and were born there. Mr. Finsterlau?
What do you remember about the man that gave you that invitation, Mr. Finster?
He was a no-good bum, I remember that.
Do you remember his name?
I think I employed a Nazi sympathizer right here in my own factory.
He was an employee of yours?
Of course not. I don't hire Nazis.
I'm sorry. I'm a little confused. Who's the Nazi?
Why do they send a boy to do a man's job? What are they trying to do, drive me crazy?
Wait just a minute, Mr. Finster. That's not called for.
My foreman, George Hansen. I used to think he was a good man. Well, drinks a little bit too much, but he's a hard worker. Well, anyway, how am I supposed to know he traffics with Nazis? Well, he brings this riffraff right through my doors, into my factory, right into my office. He could have killed me. He was standing as close to me as you are right now. Well, naturally, I fired him on the spot.
Riffraff.
No, you idiot. George Hansen. Haven't you been listening to a word I said?
Do you remember the name of the man that gave you that invitation?
Of course not. He never mentioned it. He said he was just a messenger.
Can you describe this messenger for me?
I already described him to that detective. Look, I even picked his photograph out of one of their books. Oh, but he didn't care. All he was interested in was that vagrant killer. Well, if you ask me, he's doing this city a big favor.
I wouldn't know anything about that, sir. Can you describe him again for me, please, for my benefit?
You know, if you guys had done your work in the first place, you'd already know this. Yeah, he looked like a killer. Real mean, squinty eyes, red hair, and the bushiest red beard you'd ever want to see. Hey, there's no mistaking this guy.
Do you have any idea where I might be able to find this messenger?
Of course not.
Okay, what about this other fellow, the foreman?
Well, I used to live in company housing, but I had him evicted, of course.
Do you have any idea where I might be able to find him?
A man of my standing doesn't fraternize with his workers. Although, I have been told that George likes to throw his money around a lot on payday. The men, they like this cheap whiskey saloon in the Roaring Third. McGilly's, McGarrity's, some kind of Mick name. McGinty's, that's the name of it, McGinty's.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, I'm looking for a man named George Hansen. He used to be...
I never heard of him.
Listen, buddy, I'm not trying to cause any trouble for you. I just need a little help trying to find a friend of mine.
Yeah, friend, huh? Look, I got nothing to do with no lousy feds. Now, why don't you do me a favor and scram, huh? And while you're at it, take that friend over there with you. You're scaring away all my business.
Mm-hmm. He's looking a little out of place, isn't he? And yeah, I know, the CGI's bad. But what do you expect?
Excuse me, I'm looking for a man named George Hansen. He used to work at the Finster Munitions Factory. Do you know where I might be able to find him?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I haven't made his acquaintance.
Thanks for your time. What's your name?
Who wants to know?
My name's Jim Pearson. I'm from the COI.
Well, have a seat, Jimbo. The name's Winslow. Dick Winslow.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Winslow. What brings you here?
Oh, no need to be so formal. You can call me Dick. I'm just here for a drink.
Really? This just doesn't seem like your type of place.
Oh, and why not? Why can't a working Joe like me go out for a drink? Can't he try someplace new?
Well, you just seem a little overdressed, is all.
Guilty as charged, sport. Not a bad bit of deduction, that. Oh, well, I might as well confess. You're right. I'm with the FBI.
Really? What are you doing here?
Staking the place out. I thought I might get a lead on the torso killer, but I haven't had much luck yet. But you're new here, aren't you?
Yeah, I just started.
Oh, you don't say. And what brings you here to McGinty's, Jimbo?
Well, I'm working on an investigation of my own.
Oh, really? How interesting. Did someone steal some plans for a secret weapon? Huh? Or commit an act of sabotage, perhaps?
No, nothing like that. I'm looking into a group of possible German subversives.
Well, perhaps your men are on our little German blacklist. You mean they haven't told you about that? Your office should have a copy. Really, I'd complain to my superiors right away. How can a new agent hope to succeed without the necessary tools?
What is this list?
It's a list of suspicious Americans of German descent. FBI's been keeping tabs on them for a while now. Oh, it wouldn't take much for some of them to sell out Uncle Sam for, Uncle Adolf, huh?
Thanks for the information, Dick. This list might come in handy. Well, I should be going now.
Listen, sport. You're new here, so I'll give you one little bit of free advice. Some of the people in your department have stepped on some toes, so, you be careful where you put your foot down.
I'll remember that.
Well, it was a pleasure to meet you, Jimbo. Hey, drop by my office anytime.
Thanks, Dick. I just may take you up on that.
Mm-hmm. He sounds Scottish or Irish, something like that, maybe. Hmm. And he says he's from the FBI as if it's some sort of secret. Back then it may be a little bit of a secret, but back then the CIA was more of a well-guarded secret.
Yes?
Sorry to bother you, sir.
Not at all, Mr. Pearson. Come right in.
Sir, is it true that the FBI's made a list of suspicious German Americans?
Who have you been talking to?
Special Agent Winslow, sir.
Oh, yes, Agent Winslow. It's true, we do have such a list. When France fell to the Germans, a lot of people felt that it must be due to the work of a fifth column of spies and traitors. And it got the boys in Washington thinking that if we weren't careful, things might happen the same way here. Well, Mr. Hoover and his FBI set to work, watching anyone they felt could betray their own countrymen. Naturally, important Americans of German descent were watched most closely.
Could I get a look at it, sir? I believe there might be a connection between some of the names on that list and the case that I'm investigating.
Just remember, son, it's possible that any of these men on that list are hard-working Americans, no different than you or I. Don't go off all half-cocked simply because Hoover's men put a name on a list.
Yes, sir.
Give me a second here. All of a sudden, it's brighter in here, isn't it? Okay. Before we go too far, we'll have a look at this Book of Faces.
Come in.
I met Special Agent Winslow in McGinney's bar. If he's the best the FBI has to offer you, well, you're in a whole lot of trouble.
What the hell was he doing in McGinty's bar? Oh, pressing the palms of the less fortunate for when he runs for mayor?
Well, he said he was working undercover, trying to track down a lead on the torso killer. He stood out like a sore thumb.
He's about as likely to find the killer in McGinty's as my grandmother is to win the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, so there's a possibility. Okay. Yeah, here's the only one that really sticks out. I mean, there are a few here with big bushy beards like this fella, but his hair doesn't appear to be red, light brown, if anything. Whereas his is definitely red. Again, brown. I think some of these names appear on the blacklist though. But the only one that we're really interested in is in Lewis Fisher, or Lewis Fielder, or Lewis Fielding. Dr. Karl Strauss. Henry Finster. But that's about all the clues I've come up with for now. All we need to do is solve the puzzle, of the blacklist code, as it were. So we go down to Strauss. CLV 512240. Just write it down and do it on paper. And then it's got 0 plus 1 plus, minus 1. And then it's plus or minus. And then yada yada yada. More or less. So that would be C L. That would be what? 2, 2, 4, 7, and plus or minus. Yeah. Give that a try anyway. Well, you can just put in the 6 digits, but anyway, we 2, 4, 7. 5, 1, 2, 2. Nope. So you can only put in 6 digits. Oops. We'll just try 5, 1, 2, 2, 4, 0. So if we go based on that'd be well, we'll try 4. I don't know. Well, first we'll try 6, 0, 3, 1, 5, 1. And that came up with busy. So I try 4, 2, 4, 2, 1, 3, 3, 9. So that's 4, 2, 1, 3, 3, 9. Okay, let's try 5, 0. Oh no. 5, 1, 2. No. I want plus 1, so that'd be 5, 2. Minus 1 would be 2, 1. And plus 1 would be 4, 1, wouldn't it? let's try 502339. Okay, let's try 502139. Um, 522341, perhaps. Um, okay, so let's try this. 49 1962833. Okay, how about 53 16 47 5 3 1 6 4 7. Okay, let's try 532847. Yeah, try 491633. I'm not sure. But there's lots of combinations to go through. That was that was just with that combination at the moment. Okay, let's try. Oh, we haven't tried. Of course not. Oh no, that was a plus one. No, that should have been right. So that could be still 2. So it could be 49 or 51. No. 49 or 53. Plus or minus 5 on 22 would be 17 or 27. And 8 would be either 48 or 32. Let's try these combinations. 9, 1, 7, 3, 2. Five, 3, 2, 7, 4, 8. Four, 9, 2, 7, 3, 2. Okay, let's try the other one, which would be 49 or 53. 4 from 22 would be 18 or 26. And that should be 32. Or 48. Five, 3, 2, 6. So 4, 9, 2, 6, 3, 2, or 5, 3, 1, 8, 4, 8. Four more sets of numbers before I, yeah. 49, 53. 18, 26, and 49, and 31. Okay. 5, 3, 2, 6, 4, 9. 4, 9, 2, 6, 3, 1. Okay, I've been thinking about it too hard. And in the wrong way. The code beside his name is CLV 512240, and above CLV, it says 0 plus 1 minus 1. So we can figure that takes CLV, which is 258, and makes it 267. Then above the 51 is put plus or minus. And then above the other two numbers, you just put arrows. Well, what looks like arrows. However, I think they're just minus symbols with a greater than sign. So, anyway, so the problem is a little simpler than what we realize. So it should be 267 5 minus 1 is 4, 2 minus 2 is 0, and 4 minus 0 is 4. So it's 267404. Basically, you take the whole code and you shrink it down to exactly 6 digits. So 2, 6, 7, 4, 0, 4.
Hello? Museum of Natural History. Can I help you?
Yes, I'm Agent Jim Pearson with the COI. I was trying to reach a Professor Strauss.
Professor Strauss is not in. You're from Mr. Penske's office, aren't you?
Yes, sir, sort of. I wanted to...
Professor Strauss is away on business. I'll be sure to leave him a message.
Thanks. Sir?
Oops. Give me a second, dear. Okay, I'm back. Had to go through all that because the game was playing silly buggers, so we'll just save right here. So now that we made the phone call, we've got to get out of here so that way a message can be left on our desk. Let's go check in with Sullivan.
Yes?
Sorry to bother you, sir.
Not at all, Mr. Pearson. Come right in.
When I arrived back at my office, there was another message from the museum. Whatever had been between Walter Penske and Dr. Strauss seemed to be pretty important to both of them. Since I didn't have any more leads on my own investigation, and since Strauss's name did appear on the FBI's blacklist, along with Hank Finster's, I thought I might as well check into it.
Miss Helen Strauss called to say her father is out of the country for the next several weeks. She would glad to have a look at your artifacts herself. If you would like, feel free to call her at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to check out my other content, and I appreciate everything you do. Adios. Till the next time, amigos.